welcome back to Global Morning on Global Television. My name is Godwin Sunday, and joining me to talk about a pressing issue right now, which is on tanker explosions in Nigeria, is the chairman of Rapnec, which stands for Road Accidents and Prevention Network, the person of Mr. Prince Ogu. You're welcome to Global Morning.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here again.
All right. So let's even, before we delve into the conversation of accidents and prevention and some of the causes of road accident that we've seen so far, we'll take a look at a report by our correspondent. Then we'll take the conversation from there. Please stay with us.
The CNG-powered truck explosion came as a shock to many who were affected, as well as those living around the Karo-Nyanya axis, a suburb in the Federal Capital Territory. The CNG exploded about 5 times, destroying and damaging cars around its path, as well as killing a number of persons and injuring others. Witnesses have recounted their sad ordeal.
I closed from work, I was coming back. All I saw behind me was a flaming truck coming close to me, but by God's grace I was able to swap, but these statements I was hostile. We were able to all disengage from the vehicle. Unfortunately, I was rushing my driver miserably. One is seriously. At that point I couldn't help it any longer. I left. When to come back now, what I'm saying is this happens.
If I was in between the two trucks, I don't know how I managed. I was able to smuggle myself out of the vehicle. I took a run, and after running, I left the car there. After running to the pavement at the center of the road, I saw that my back was already free because the truck had already flown away. All the vehicles that were before me, were behind me. So I saw an opportunity to see if my car could still move. As I jumped in, because it was still on steaming, I jumped in again and put the car on reverse. Immediately I reversed for a few meters, I hit the pavement to cross to the other side of the road. Then people rushed, people that were standing by rushed, pushed the car off the road to the other side. That is how I was able to get the scrap on the vehicle.
Grateful for not being at his workstation during the time of the explosion, Chris stated the possibility of being involved, as many of his colleagues died from the incident.
This is exactly the point where I work. This is my terrain. This is where I work. And when this thing happened yesterday, was at the peak of our work.
The FRSC office stationed close to the explosion location immediately attended to those affected and recounting taking about 8 people burnt beyond recognition to the mortuary, while about 25 injured persons were taken to the hospital.
About 25 people were injured. The others might have even been taken by relatives and friends, so we cannot ascertain the exact number of people, but the ones we attended to were like 25.
It is truly a devastating incident, as eyewitnesses have recounted their experiences during and after the explosion. So far, at least 8 persons have been confirmed dead, while several others remain hospitalized. Authorities and medical personnel are working tirelessly to ensure full recovery of those injured. Sharon,
All right, welcome back. So let's delve into the conversation right now by first looking at the various road accidents that we've had so far in the country, and by extension the most recent accident that we had in the Federal Capital Territory along the Karo Express, which you saw a CNG explosion like you've watched in the report. But then let me bring the conversation back to you, Mr. Chair Prince Ogu. What do you make? How will you react to some of these explosions that we've seen in the country?
It's a new scenario in the country because it's a new technology. The CNG is a new technology that was introduced by this administration to caution the effect of the subsidy removal, to see that people can get affordable means of transportation moving from one place to the other. But enough sensitization was not made on the risk factors that has to do with CNG. You cannot introduce a technology in a country without developing some safety and emergency measures that will enable the public or the masses to know what to do when such event occurs. we cannot run away from the fact gas is synonymous or related with explosion. Even in the homes, all of us use gases to cook now. So you should know that if you are riding on gas on the highway or you are using gas to power your vehicle, the consequences or the issue of explosion should be at the back of your mind because it's highly inflammable. I think even more than the petrol. Yeah, even more than the petrol. So the recent explosion at the Nyanya Karu Road cannot be swept under the carpet. Although we are aware the government has set up a committee to investigate. How soon are we going to get a report from that committee? And what are the factors put in place to prevent future occurrences? Those are the things we have at the back of our mind as organizations operating under the canopy of non-governmental organizations in Nigeria.
That's a very interesting one. So let's look at the various policies being put in place to ensure that we don't have these occurrences on our roads. You are within the corridor of prevention of road accidents. I think that's what your organization stands for.
Exactly.
All right, so let's look at this. What are the root causes or basic root causes of road accidents even in Nigeria? Because a lot of people will be traveling back to their communities, back to their villages to go and celebrate the Eid Fitr with their families. What are the root causes of road accidents?
We've been dwelling on this issue for so long. You are aware that if you continue to do the same thing, you get the same result until you look or think outside the box. Now, basically, we'll be talking about some factors that have to do with the road, the driver, and the vehicle. Those are the things we've been looking at all this while. But we need to take it a little bit further from the vehicle, the road, and the driver to emotional factors. What are the emotional factors? Emotional factors has to do with economic factors. For example, somebody goes and buys a fuel for 800 naira per liter or 1,000 naira per liter, and then the money they gave him from his company to fill the vehicle to his destination is not even enough. Talk less of taking care of his family at home. These are commercial factors now. We are not talking about the private factors. Now, emotionally, he will be bedeviled with that thought on how to cope with that journey while holding the steering. This will bring in distractions. This will bring in other manners of things you never thought of. And before you know it, you run into a vehicle. He's thinking of what to send to the wife at home because you cannot go out. You have children in school.
Without coming back with something.
Yeah. So emotionally, he's been deviled and trapped in that euphoria of trying to cope with the economic factors. Eventually, emotionally, he's trapped down. You see people coming out of their estate every day now running into other vehicles on the highway. It doesn't mean they don't know how to drive. Those are emotional factors.
So you're saying that what the most prominent cause of road accident right now is an emotional factor?
Yes, emotional factors and drug issues. We move further as we discuss.
Okay.
Emotional and drug issues. Why do I say emotional? Now, every country has its own issue. Nigeria is different from Ghana. Ghana is different from Liberia. Liberia is different from South Africa. In our own context as a country, right now, we need to deal with emotional factors, apart from infrastructural issues that has to do with the road, the railways, the facilities that are designed to ensure a free flow of traffic across the country. The president tried by setting up a team to look into what happened in Nyanya recently, but we are not hearing again from the committee. This committee is supposed to be a public committee that talks to the public. For example, we drive the coalition of road safety NGOs in Nigeria. We have close to 500 NGOs on our database that we can present at any point in time, and they can be available for discussion on national issues under the coalition. It's not about somebody saying story or politicizing everything. It's about life and death. Directly or indirectly, we are all involved. If you are a senator today and you feel you have convoy, you don't have issues with the road, your extended family members, in short, your supporters, your loved ones are there, and you'll be spending money on grief, burial ceremonies, and other activities which are preventable. You understand me? So there are so many areas, depending on where you want us to move in. We are prepared here to handle this issue within the available limits of time you give to us.
All right, so let's take the conversation further. You talk about emotional issues, emotional factor as one of the large source of a road accidents on our Nigerian roads. But then, in order to talk more on emotional factors, are there concerns by the government and policies in this regard to be able to comb emotionality and some form of emotions even on a road, apart from when you want to do your drive, you want to learn how to drive? Are there policies in place?
We are not aware of any policy in place by the government, because these are new scenarios. Why do you call them new scenarios? They are involving problems. You know, there is no world or no society that doesn't have issues. Every day you wake up with different problems. Then you build solutions to solve those problems. You don't just relax and say that it's all over. You know,
I should think that prior to this time we've had a lot of conversations around people driving into the road, people leaving their estate, driving into the major road
and crashing
into other people's vehicles.
Exactly.
We've seen this conversation has been on for more than 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
And you when you say it's new, it makes it look like it's a total...
No, when I say it's new, I'm talking about the emotional factors.
Okay.
The issue of road accident cannot be new. Road crashes prevention has been there. It's a global problem that the world is contending with. In short, recently the world gathered in Marrakech, Morocco, for the first time Africa hosted the Conference of Ministers. Our president of the president of the Court of Appeal in Nigeria here, Mrs. Dogban, was there, which moved with more than 10 delegates. The commercial FRSC was there. The Federal Minister of Transport station in Nigeria led the team to that conference. So road accident is a global issue that Nigeria is signatory and fully participating. But what we are talking about here is that the domestication and implementation of those policies, are they to our advantage? At the global level, we are with them. Are we domesticating it locally? These are the questions that we need to look. These are the issues we need to look into. Because at times you need to ask yourself, when Nigeria was in this crisis, what role did I play? If your son asks you tomorrow, Nigeria now is facing so people are dying, people are violating traffic rules because they teach them in school, they have road safety clubs and all that, and you carry your son or your daughter in a vehicle, you are not putting seat belt. Your daughter is the one to tell you to, please daddy, put your seat belt, because she belongs to a road safety club in her school. Now her future is protected. You now, as the father, you are not putting seat belt. Are you conforming with the principle? So these are the gaps that need to be filled. A lot of gaps need to be filled, and there are so much factors that can be related or equated to this emotional, factor. I'm opening up a new chapter, and it's going to form a national conversation. I know what I'm talking about. What we deal with here, even with the lead agency, is drunk driving, put on your seatbelt, over speeding, and all those kind of things. But in between, something instigates somebody to misbehave on the road, and that is traceable to what? Economic and emotional factor.
That's it. It sounds. Well, I'm concerned because it sounds very strange, because we've never heard we've never had conversations where people talk about emotional factors as one of the factors responsible for road accidents in Nigeria. But looking at a lot of accidents again from another perspective, you understand also we have a lot of underage drivers, especially when it has to do with truck driving in Nigeria. Could this also be a factor that is also causing a very large accident in the country?
Factor.
Okay.
I appreciate you for identifying that area. Most especially, most of them are from the north. And somebody was telling me, he said because they are brave, that is why you see them driving most of the trucks, Dangote trucks. If you check their drivers, 80% of them are less than 30 years. Go and carry out the data and get back to us, or open it to a public debate.
We'll look into that.
Yeah,
please go.
Now, why is this so? The issue of joblessness and young men out of school drive them into this profession. And some of them feel they are brave and they have the mind to curtail and maybe if you hold this there, because before you drive a truck, you must have a different mind, not this mind that me and you is carrying.
Oh, so you have a different mind to drive a truck?
Yeah, you have a different mind to drive a truck because it's not something that you can swap like a small car. You need to sometimes pump the brake severally for it to stand. It doesn't stand still like normal car. So you should be prepared to move across vehicles when you're out of the lane or anything happens or your brake fails. Maybe you take like 10 or 20 cars. You match them on before you stop. So these are the issues we're talking about. So then if you take it down memory lane, there's need for these vehicles to have their own lane if our railways are not working. Like what they did in Lagos. They have BRT lanes for buses. I think they've succeeded there somehow. So the Calabar, what do we call it now? This one they are doing now from Lagos to Calabar.
Yeah.
Is it
Lagos Calabar? What do you call it? Coastal Highway.
They should be able to map out specifically some road for truck drivers. This road belongs to trucks. No small vehicles enters here. If our railways and even if the railways are working, because those in the business of moving trucks and goods by the road cannot go out of business overnight because you have built your railway, they'll fight against it. And that's one of the reasons that railways are not working. You understand? So those new infrastructures that have been put in place by the Tinubu administration, our president now, should be able to conform with global standard. What do you call them now? IRAP, International Road Assessment, called 3-star road. We don't have one in Nigeria. Take it anywhere. Nigeria don't have any 3-star road. We can have hotels that are 3 or 5 stars. But when it comes to roads, we don't have 3-star road. What is a 3-star road? A 3-star road is not a road that is too fully polished. It's a road that conforms with the relevant standard, global standard. Somebody who is trekking will not be disturbed. A pedestrian will not be disturbed. Everything is in place, in line with global standard. That's what they call 3-star road.
I thought we have something like that in Lagos.
I doubt. No, Lagos is coming up. But as far as I'm concerned, under the Global Alliance of Road Safety. Global Alliance of Road Safety is an arm of the United Nations that houses non-governmental organizations, and there are about 350 NGOs there. As I'm talking to you, over 350 NGOs. Road Accident Prevention Network Center, which I pilot, is a member. We have about 5 or 7 members of the Global Alliance from Nigeria, of NGOs. Now, International Road Assessment Program, IRAP, this FIA and some other organizations, global organizations, powers the Global Alliance that empowers the NGOs that operate under the umbrellas globally. And one of the people that powers these organizations, what do you call them now, is the International Road Assessment Programs, IRAP, that has the capacity and the fund in billions of dollars to transform roads across the world to 3-star road. That's their mandate. They are not asking you to use your money. But because of the way we do things in this country, the way things work in this country, they sideline those with the ideas, they sideline those with the initiative where they hear money. And then the next thing is conflict of interest. Everybody is going for the money. The Ministry of Work is going, the Ministry of Transport is going, Road Safety is going, every other person, government agencies are going. Forgetting the non-governmental organizations that have the mandate, original mandate by the United Nations, are the global forces that drive road safety issues, who are supposed to mediate and discuss, at the same time facilitate and confirm these funds for our country. If you go to places like Tanzania, Kenya, what do you call them, Zambia, and other countries of the world, they don't have this problem. Their data are accurate, they are not politicized. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So they have maximum attention and funding to their problems. Why? Because they involve the critical stakeholders and non-governmental organizations like us in their policies. We can't go kneeling down for the government and say, "Look, we have a solution to this and that." You understand me?
All right.
But bureaucracies and policies of government in this country are things that we need to, look into. Every day we are busy talking about political institutions. This one has happened in River State. Natasha has done this. This one has done that. People are dying on the road. Is it not time for us to look into all these circumstances and give attention to road crashes in our country?
Well, we'll come back to this conversation again, but the big mention of the fact that underage truck drivers are brief. You want to elaborate on that?
Okay, yes, you still hammering on that point.
Yeah, so let's get
now
to
we have enforcement agencies. The Federal Road Safety Corps has applied for them to use arms. Do you know why I'm in support of that? I'm in support of that because most of the truck drivers are driving under the influence of drug and alcohol, and they can violate and intimidate anybody on the street. Why? Because they are operating not with their normal mind. They are operating with an extra fictitious, brave, corrupt, and indisciplined mind, empowered by the drug they take, like marijuana, cocaine, tramadol, and the rest of them. So organizations operating within the drug prevention corridor has a lot of role to play in this issue, in this scenario.
So
for example,
yeah.
Now the Federal Safety Corps, FROSC, have the mandate to protect, save lives on our highways. What measures or what can they use to stop a truck coming on the highway heavily drunk or highly intoxicated with all manner of drugs? With the steady, other vehicles are giving chance. A young man in his prime who has not even passed through the normal training because they say he's brave, and before you drive a vehicle in Nigeria, one of the criteria is that you must have the mind to hold the steering. Regardless of who is coming, you are on the truck, you are higher. Your risk of dying is 1%.
Can you say that again, please?
Your risk of dying if you drive a truck is at 1%. I'm the one telling you now. Even if at explosion, because they know before they know they don't jump out. That's the one they learn. All truck drivers in Nigeria are very aware of that. When their brake fails, one of their leg is outside, even if they are crushing other vehicles. That's why you don't see them dying.
We likely will see. At the scene of the incident, you don't even see them again.
You don't see them. They escape into the forest. They are said before it happens. They are already in the forest.
You go for a special training for that?
No, you see, you protect your life if you are in any business. I'm not supporting them for that. You protect your life. If the vehicle is not in order and other facilities are not in order, then those guys driving they are always smart at that. You can never see a truck driver dying, whether you say 30. The one that happened on Nyanya, the driver, they did that. The recent one now that we are talking about in Nyanya, we are here. The guy escaped. All of them in the vehicle. Why? When they are brake failed, they know that they are out of control already. What they do is to maneuver and see where the vehicle is going to stop. And eventually that one went and hit, whether it's a CNG truck or it's the one that feel that it's carrying CNG facility or tank, and then there was explosion. And over 30 vehicles went aflame. People burned to ashes. Look at everybody complaining at the scene. You just show it here now. Nigerians are helpless. They are completely helpless.
People will be traveling back to their homes this period.
During the Salah period.
Yes, a lot of people will be traveling back. Looking at the state of the Nigerian roads right now, is it advisable for one to travel this period?
There's no way it's written that during festive period you must travel. In the Bible and Quran, is there any way it's written?
It's time to be with your family. It's a time to want to marry, and also sometimes it's a time to bond.
Let me tell you this.
It's a time to
mentality that we need to kill. We need to kill some level of mentality. Now, this period, the road is going to be extremely busy. More people are going to be on the road. Somebody who buys a new car, want to go and show in the community that he has bought a new car, his level has changed. They want to go and tell the people in the community and his friends that he has arrived. And probably those ones are there waiting for him, putting into condition the economy of the country to come and make sure they enjoy and take care of them, buy drinks, buy food, make them happy. On the other hand, other people are there with envy. Let us see how it's going to come here. That's where spiritual factors and other things comes in. So it's not written anywhere that you must come. Is there anything wrong if you are preaching Abuja to pay for, or anywhere part of the country, to pay for your people to come and visit you in the city? Is there anything wrong with that? So the level of traffic is going to increase tremendously in the next few days. And then put into consideration the facilities we have, the nature of our roads. There's going to be some high rate of accidents and deaths, avoidable deaths. Some people are alive now, very sorry, it's not a prophecy or a prayer.
No, that's what I wanted to ask. If it's coming from, if you're a road prophet at this point.
It's not a prophecy or a prayer. But the last time we were here, I told you something. That this explosion will not stop until the right thing is done to stop it. Is it not still happening? Okay. That is not a prophecy. Now, based on, you might see it as a prophecy anyway, because I'm a man of God. I have a ministry.
All right.
So now, if you look at the trends and the level, a country of 230 million people, approximately. Are you getting me?
Yeah.
With our road network and the bad infrastructure, and the level of people that is going to be on the road between now and Wednesday is going to be traumatic. FRC is trying their best to make sure maybe people obey traffic rules where there's congestion. But on the highway, you cannot stop speed. You just bought a car because it's a Jeep or it's a brand new car that you can your family is there and you are pressing it as a young man. You are flying. No, now. Try your best to calm down and see how you can arrive safely. So there are a lot of issues. I don't even know where we are going to handle. From young teenage drivers of trucks to people trying to travel during the festive season, and drunk driving, and other factors. So emotional factors. You see, we mentioned a whole lot of things. So we can be here for hours.
So invariably, you are saying at this point that, or if I understand you from what you've been saying, are you saying that people should not travel this period? That's one. Two, the roads, you've said the roads are not going to, the roads going to be safe. That's secondly. Then thirdly, should people rather go by air or still maintain the road? Because people need to be with their family.
See, that is a no-go area. Going by air based on the cost. Or if you go to the airport and there's no space. But even if you go by air and drive, you must send a vehicle to your house. You don't fly to your house.
Okay.
You must send a vehicle to your house. Now, we are not saying people should not travel. But they should minimize the level of trip during festive season. Now, talking about the infrastructure, the roads are bad. We know government is trying their best. They are still trying their best to see how they can put the roads in order and all that. But it's not good enough. You understand? So now, talking about the solution, we'll be talking about problem.
We still talk more problems, because if we don't talk problems, we might not be able to arrive. We might not be able to arrive at.
I don't want to be look at.
We will come back to you. Talk about the solutions, but the problems.
We want to see solutions, because everybody is watching. This is a global institution. It's a global media institution. I'll be hammering on the problem. People will be waiting to hear the solution.
Maybe we'll come back to the solution, because the reason why we are even talking about the problems first is we've had a lot of tanker explosions. I recall that there was one that happened in Niger State. We're trying to recover from two happened in Niger State. Actually, we're trying to recover from Niger State, and we've seen another one happen in the Federal Capital Territory. We don't know which state is going to be next, and we're going into the festive period. People out there that are traveling, drivers need to know first, what are the root causes of this accidents? First, that's what we're trying to establish. Then also, are the roads safe? Then before we now start getting into the other phase of trying to understand.
The roads are not safe. Let me give you, we need to dive in more.
Okay.
If you are traveling on a Nigerian road, there are so many factors. One, you are afraid of kidnappers. We have mentioned that.
Nope.
If you are traveling on a Nigerian road, at the back of your mind, your vehicle can be stopped at any times with kidnappers. They come in from the forest. My junior brother was kidnapped at a time 2-3 years back. I personally took 3 million into the forest between Night Mile and what do they call this place? And Ugolafo. I was on a bike for 2 hours moving into the forest where the kidnappers are. I was personally detained into that forest and hand over 3.5 million to them, cash that I took. To go down, the criminals want to take the money away from me. I have to battle into the market and escape. Because the kidnappers have kidnapped some people. Another criminals came out to see people who are coming to pay ransom. People will be coming with money. And this is what's happening in the country. That's another factor. It's another serious factor on the Nigerian road. Crimes, insecurity, and criminality. When you say we talk about the problem, you see, I don't want to talk about the problem. It's better to talk about the solution. This is another problem. If you have somebody traveling from here to Lagos now, you will not sleep. You'll be praying to know whether the person has arrived. Because all the vehicle can be stopped at any point in time. And these people come in their numbers. It's not about 1 or 2 persons. You can see like 10 people with AK-47 coming from the forest shooting. So what will a policeman, 1 policeman or 2 policemen in the bus do to stop about 10 deadly kidnappers?
And we thought highway policing right now has improved in Nigeria.
No, the police are trying. The Nigerian police, they are trying. But they need to recruit more men. And within their system, censor and clean out bad eggs. Are you getting it? You cannot. What is the population of the Nigerian police that will police 230 million people when half of them are protected people in the National Assembly?
Let's not get into that conversation. Let's not. We can't say that for sure. That
and we need to. The big men in the society. If you have money, you get yourself protected. If you can pay, and then they secure you. But then we need to employ more private security measures and license more institutions. If possible, license some people to be able to protect themselves so that they don't die like a coward. When the criminals are holding guns and the sincere ones are not holding guns, what is the end means in that kind of society? What are you going to say?
Quite an interesting.
Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So these are nexus. They are connected. To tell you, when they tell you road accident is everybody's business, people think it's just a hearsay. They are connected, they are related, and there are so many ways they are associated with economic factors. You cannot rule it out. And everybody can what? Be a victim. You cannot be a senator forever, you cannot be in the House of Rep forever. At the age of 90, if you are alive, will you be there? You'll be sleeping. You will now join the society and begin to feel the impulse and impact of your children and grandchildren falling victims of the laws and circumstances that's supposed to be in place when we're in the system that you not put in place. You can't keep quiet forever.
Mr. Let's bring this conversation back home a bit before we start talking about some of the recommendations and solutions. The coalition of road safety NGOs in Nigeria, you said that we have about 500 registered NGOs in Nigeria, or that's based on road safety, and we're still having these accidents in our roads. Are the NGOs doing enough in Nigeria in terms of sensitization, in terms of awareness, and also road accident prevention campaigns? And are they doing enough to be able to help mitigate the current accident rate that we have even on our roads in terms of even the explosion? Like you're talking about emotions and all of this. Are the NGOs doing enough?
You are coming back home. So now that you are coming back home, let us dwell on it properly. The UN Decade of Action, like the United Nations Decade of Action on road safety and injury prevention, is a global platform. The first one was 2010 to 2020. It failed it was acknowledged by the United Nations that the first decade failed. Now, the second decade was from 2021 to 2030. And one of the factors that was put in place by the United Nations and the Global Alliance is to involve NGOs in decision making worldwide. That led to the formation of the coalition, of which Nigeria was one of the countries. First country that formed the coalition. That's COSAN, Coalition of Road Safety and NGO in Nigeria, of which I chair. Immediately the coalition was formed, the informations and others were sent to the United Nations, which is gazetted up to date, as I'm talking to you, under the Alliance and other global bodies. Now, one of the formulas released by the UN and the Alliance was that non-governmental organizations must be involved in decision making in all countries of the world. Why? Now, NGOs are the eyes, the ears of the people. Civil society organizations. That is a mistake most people make in this part of the world. They are not aware. As I am now, nobody pays me salary. I pay, I use my, based on maybe donations from money I got from other business I do, to support this cause. Because at the end of the day, what is your role during your lifetime in your country? What did you do in the area of humanitarian gesture? These are questions that will answer in the great beyond, not complain. There's nothing like complain there. If you're out of this world and by the grace of God at old age, you can't go and be telling God because this guy do this one, that one do this one, that's why I do not know. What is your role? Or what did you do when Nigeria was in turmoil? During the time of IBB, I'm not deviating. There's a slogan always on the radio, Nigeria. When Nigeria was in crisis, what did you do? What role did you play to take Nigeria out of this crisis? I'm not saying it was the best during the time. He has no shortcoming and all that. Now, in the context of those crises, now, what are you doing to mitigate the crisis? Are you part of those who are complaining every day? Or turning to another political fiesta? When people gather that Tinubu is not working, and 10 people died yesterday, road safety is not working, 20 people died yesterday. Are you part of the political fiesta that will ignite the problem, or are you part of the solution?
So, what are NGOs doing enough in this regard?
I'm coming now.
All right.
Now, the government need to involve the NGOs, not ordinary NGOs, critical NGOs that have stake in the global affairs, that understand what it takes, not people who comes out to claim they are leading NGOs, they were doing this in Nigeria, they keep talk. What can you put on the table as a solution? What is your force? Like I told you now, it is a database. For example, if you talk of ISOP, International Society for Substance Use Professional, it's an organization that is out to fight drug abuse. We moved into the organization, we became members, we secure our place, we begin to tell them to campaign about the effects of drugs on road crashes. Already there are over 500 members here in Nigeria here, registered NGOs, fully committed to drug prevention, drug abuse in this country. They are over the world. ISOP, we moved there. We brought the issue of road safety into ISOP, trying to build a nexus between road accident prevention and drug abuse. Now, if you look around, NDLA has seized thousands and billions of drugs.
Yeah.
Worth of drugs in the area of tramadol, cocaine, and other dangerous drugs. Ask yourself, people who take these drugs, are they not driving? Are they flying? Are they not on the road? So those are the things we are talking about. You need to bring all critical stakeholders together. That is why we advocate for interagency collaboration. That's what we call interagency collaboration.
So in the absence of all of these structures being put in place, in absence of government doing the needful which it ought to do, are the NGOs taking extra step in sensitizing truck drivers, taking extra steps in sensitizing the general public on accident prevention?
No, we'll be doing, but we need to do more. Now, right now, there's need for a conference to bring in all the tanker drivers in Nigeria together. You have Nupeng, Pengasin, what do they call this other TUC, and the rest of them. If their drivers are even busy, they should send their managers, their safety managers. We are discussing with NOA, National Registration Agency, they are our partners. We have a committee of close to 18 directors, including the Prime Minister of Transport, the Road Safety, FEMA, the Nigeria Police, another critical at the director level. There is a forum in place right now. So we are looking into all this to see how we can bring together agencies, institutions to fine-tune a way of tackling this problem. It's not enough that government set up a committee. Now that committee, they said, how many NGOs are there? None. All the committees that said, tell me now. And even if NGOs are there, you will now begin to think whether they come in through the back door or whether they have the power to solve the problem that we are talking about. Are you getting? So the NGOs are working. Let me answer your question now. By the way, this aside, what I just told you now, oversight, observations.
All right. So why I'm asking that question is, I'm asking you because I want to find out from you the number of accidents that we've had so far can be prevented, but sometimes we take steps to do what we call damage control instead of prevention. Now that's why I'm asking what the NGOs are doing in terms of going to the trailers, organizations, and ensure that they do a voluntary orientational programs for the drivers, a voluntary flyers, a voluntary service to various truck drivers and all of this, to ensure that we're able to reduce the number of road accidents, especially within tankers, and by so doing curbing the number of explosions, truck explosions that we have in the country. That's why I'm asking if the NGOs are doing enough.
Let me give you a laid-down plan.
All right, please.
How to give you a laid-down plan? There's what we have: community advocacy. We have what do you call them? Community advocacy. You have public advocacy. You have town hall meetings. Are you getting me now? You have town hall meetings. Then you have religious advocacy network. This has to do with the churches and mosque. After every service, the churches are supposed to propel and project some safety, even if it's 1 minute on their screen. After the Salah Muslim prayer, normal thing they do, you project 1 or 2 messages, road safety tips for people to see, because we all gather in the mosques and churches. We are not coming from another planet, except the traditional worshippers and others who are even hiding under the canopy of these two religions, because that is the one that is mostly accepted. That is, we as non-governmental organizations, my organization, for example, Road Accident Prevention Network, you can find us at www.rapnec.org.ng, www.rapnec.org.
So
if you go here,
yeah,
you will see some of our activities. You can even contribute and suggest a way forward. Now, for the coalition, there must be a kind of national conference and seminars and workshops. It's not just to go into the park. People have been going to the parks for years. Is it? If you go to our parks now, that's where you see Ogogoro and all this. What do you call this one? Sachet, something that they drink.
Let's just leave that sachet. So
that is the market point. Now that came up with the position to ban them. They have been silenced. Are you hearing it again? There was a time now that came up last year that they want to ban sachet drinks, alcohol. Yeah. And the thing was all over. It even went to National Assembly. They say public hearing this and that. Are you hearing anything like that again? Why?
It's still in the pipeline though.
No, see, why are you not hearing it? The companies that are driving these products are making huge profit. They They are making millions and billions of naira. So they will not want to come and silence their business. But the consequences of road crashes, are they supporting awareness campaign? Are the alcohol companies part of the advocacy network in this country? No. I will tell you no, because I have not benefited under any corporate social responsibilities. You understand? So it's not about NGO. What are NGOs doing? What are the subordinates or people who are around doing to support this effort? Because NGOs are not business oriented, or they call them non-profit organizations. So for them to drive and succeed, they will need the support of institutions and companies and even government to succeed. These are the things we are talking about.
So invariably NGOs and ours are stranded.
They are not stranded.
Their hands are tied.
They are no.
Invariably NGOs are not doing enough.
No. They are doing enough. But
enlighten us.
They need to do more. You see, this is the type of critical questions you ask that sometimes scare people like us. It's not NGOs are trying, but they need more support. They need to be involved.
All right. So
in activities of governments.
All right. So you've mentioned all of this before now. So let's take the conversation forward at this point. You spoke about the fact that Nigeria has not yet reached that point of talking about having a 3-star road, as it were, in the country. All of this, if we put a time frame to all of this, do you think that we can get to that point?
No, definitely we can get there. It's not rocket science. For example, if you look at walkways, if you go to Utako in Abuja, for example, Utako, between Utako and Bega, you see 2 walkways. You know Utako market now. Now those 2 walkways are designed for pedestrians, people who trek. You see a car coming to that place. It's not. You see people leave the road and they will drive. Do you know how many people that can be knocked down? For somebody to take his car off the road and put it on the pedestrian walkway, that car should be seized forever. That's how it's done in Lagos. It's not even on pedestrian. If you drive on one way in Lagos, they seize your vehicle because they have a special task force in Lagos that handle all these issues. In Abuja, we don't have.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Yeah. So these are critical issues. These are issues that need to be handled, and we need is a collaborative effort. It's not about shifting blame. You'll be surprised. I don't know if the data has changed. Abuja is leading in road crashes, and we have the best road. That tells you that the better the road, the more the accident.
that sounds very interesting. the better the road.
Yeah, because people speed more and swap more and do all manner of rubbish more on those roads.
All right, so let's talk about the solutions to this challenge that we have it. Even let's begin from the truck explosions in the country. What can we do as a people to ensure that we are able to prevent these and put a stop to it? If not complete stop to it, at least make it infinitesimal low, the rate of explosions and then accidents in our roads.
Before, normally we have truck explosion, tankers explosion, but we have an additional factor now.
Okay.
Which is CNG, whatever.
And the CNG, I think it's just recent. It's the first of its kind.
It's the first of its kind, and it's a new technology.
Yeah.
That tells you that more will happen.
Okay.
One has happened. People say it's just one. And it's not their fault. They are trying to defend CNG. You cannot tell me CNG is 100% secured. There are some disadvantages, and some factors, and some training that need to go on within the public space, so that people know where and how to manage it if there's a crash or if there's an explosion. Those are the things we are talking about. There's no system that is 100% secured anywhere in the world. Technologically wise, there are disadvantages, there are challenges that you need to cope with, and educate the public in the event of such incident and circumstances. What do you do, or what are you supposed to do? Some people pick up their phone to record in the event they go caught up in the explosion. They run from their house to where there's an accident, as they want to do video with their phone, boom, everybody is gone.
And it's really funny because these days you see accident happen instead of people to help people that are dying, people recording.
Yes.
It's quite sad.
So they feel they want to build up their, what do you call this in
their followers on social media.
On social media, their network and all that, so that they can have more fans.
Okay.
That is their mentality. You see, so there is a lot of problems.
So how do we fix these problems?
This problem requires a national holistic approach. It's not about the media, they are trying their best. Individuals are trying their best. The government need to call for a national conference and declare a state of emergency on the Nigerian roads.
Okay.
It's not declaring state. I'm not talking of what we are doing in Rivers State now.
No, what I mean by state of, when we said state of emergency, could national state of emergency for Nigerian roads?
Yes. Now, when you say national state of emergency on Nigerian roads, you are trying to draw attention of the masses to the calamities and tragedies that are happening on our roads, and then trying to bring them together to address the problem. You understand?
Yeah.
These are not political fictitious or manipulations that is designed to drive people's attention to a particular goal. When I said we need a state of emergency on the Nigerian road, most of our members believe in what I'm talking about. You have the NRTW, you have Return, you have NATO, you have the rest of them. They are the owner of these trucks. For example, NATO. Has NATO members passed through any national training on CNG? All their drivers or the safety stuff? How many NGOs are aware of those trainings? Or what are the precautionary measures put in place for the masses to know on how to escape when such tragedy happens? So it's not enough to say you are people gather in one place and be talking stories. You need to have a solution, a focus to solve problem. Okay, God forbid, how will somebody feel now? You feel comfortable and you fly, you don't move by a road in your office, and you receive a call now. One of your cousins has died in the village on road accident. In short, no, everybody, most prominent people dies now. It's only poor people that dies.
Well,
there's no everybody. There was a time the entire team, the secretary of the National Road Transport Workers, died on the Airport Road before Nigeria came into office. The people that were there, all of them crashed and died on their way to the airport. Are you getting it? So these are national issues. It's not an issue that is restricted to some group of people or less privileged in the society, or there's some kind of judgmental principles that you want to put in place for some people to escape it, or you are trying to bring in a policy that will cover some and leave some out of it. It's a national and global tragedy that requires national emergency.
And the president should declare state of emergency.
And the president should declare state of emergency on the Nigerian roads.
Well, it's a good way. It's a good way to say thank you so much, Mr. Chair, for being a part of the show this morning. Well, we'll go for a short break and then we'll come back. We'll still talk more even on global television. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, once again.
You're welcome.
We'll go for this break and we'll come back. We'll talk more on global television.